Richie let go of Vine's hand and stood up folding the papers all nicely and placing them in a file. Vine, if you think just because of a few forged signatures you can have me, then best of luck standing against me in a court. Richie, oh darling, I'll be more glad to see you fail. Vine stood up, eyes flaring anger and disgust. She wondered what made her mother fall for him. Vine, Mom loved you, and this is what you're doing to her daughter. It's hardly a year she died. Richie only rolled his eyes, and that only ignited her anger. Richie, oh come on. As admirable and intelligent as she was in her work, she was extremely an idiot when it came to her personal life. She could have once understood and only married her for property and you. Me? She asked as she furrowed her brows. It still upsets me how clueless you are, which he said as he exceeded his steps towards her. It was you I wanted to get close to, and the only way was to get to your mother first. He put a hand on the nape of her neck, getting close to her in a very wrong way. Vine pushed him, but it was of no use. The man was 2 times bigger than her. Vine, what the hell are you talking about? Richie, you're beautiful like your mother, but got that tongue you need to control. His fingers wrapped around her neck and started choking her. It only took up little power and her weak face till she was out of breath and her movements started getting lazier. Vine, let me go. Richie, of course I will. He chuckled after you're done learning your lesson. He leaned his face close to her, sniffing in her scent. She felt so disgusted of his touch on her. Before he could proceed, the doors of the home broke open and the two men and a woman, dressed in black, barged in. Richie pulled away and Vine cuffed her, holding onto her neck, and took in deep breaths. It hurt so much she thought she was going to die. Richie, what the hell? Who the hell are you? He was thrown away by one of the buffed up men whom Vine believed was Jungkook's guard. She was intended by the lady guard instantly, but all her eyes searched for was her boyfriend. No one else could give her the sense of protection like him. As if a relief to her burning eyes and aching soul, Jungkook stepped inside the house. His eyes cold as they took in Ryan first for the confirmation, then shifted towards Richie, who was on the floor by now. He walked towards Ryan, the lady guard stepping away. Jungkook put his hands on her waist and his eyes took in all of her, the finger marks on her cheeks and neck just adding fuel to the fire. Ryan, he made me sign those stupid marriage papers. He wants to take my company from me. He's so disgusting. She held on to Ryan, all the fears she tried her best to hide from Richie coming to surface, knowing she had nothing to hide in those arms that felt like home. She got in his embrace and Junko put his protective arm around her. Eyes falling onto Richie, and the man on the floor was no idiot to believe it called his death. Jungkook, as long as I am here, no one can hurt you. Jungkook stood there for as long as she needed him, till she got calm and received a kiss on her temple from him. She pulled back, taking a deep breath. Mayan, I'm fine. Jungkook, how about you go out and take a walk? I'll be following you shortly. Jungkook held her chin in between his fingers and pecked her lips. Mayan simply nodded and left the room. The lady guard went with her and the door was closed behind. Vichy, what do you think you're doing? I'm going to call the police. Jungkook, I'd like to see you try. He rolled his shirt sleeves up and stepped near Richie kneeling down beside him. What? Go ahead, call the police. Were you waiting for them to visit you after your death? Richie, are you threatening me in my own home? Jungkook extended his hand out towards his guard who handing him the papers Richie just got signed from Ryan. She had no idea, but they were not only the papers of marriage, but also the company. Junker ran out of patience when the image of Ryan looking so scared flashed through his eyes. He wrapped his fingers around Rich's throat so hard, fingers stinging against the pressure point, drawing him out of his breath. The man thought he was going to die right there. Richie tried to push the madman off him. Junker grabbed his wrist and folded it behind his back, drawing a scream out of Richie. Jungkook, I have a question. He put more pressure. His expression did once twist as he coldly stared at the life flaming out of the man. He knew so well how much pressure he needed to keep the man on the edge of death. What hand did you use to hurt her? Jungkook, which hand? He repeated, stressing each word, and heard the almost lifeless man muttering right. Jungkook let go of him and watched him gasping desperately and coughing, his whole face flushing red and the left arm unmoving. Jungkook wondered he didn't mean to break that one. Jungkook crumpled the papers he got signed from Ryan into a ball. It made a huge ball considering the 5 to 6 skirt pages. He tossed them in Rich's mouth forcefully and threw him down the floor. Jungkook, once you're done swallowing the papers, I will let you go. He stood up, put his feet over the back of Rich's hand, pressing it against the ground. The papers were so rough they almost injured the inside of his mouth. The previous pain from choking and the sound of his bones breaking made him wish for his death. Jungkook heard his muffled screams and it only angered him more remembering the marks of abuse left on his girl he put his everything to protect. No one, absolutely no one had a right to lay a wrong eye on her. On the other hand, Vine sat on the bonnet of Jungkook's car. The lady guard applied pain relief ointment to her neck and now she stayed there moving legs to and fro and waited for her boyfriend patiently. She was not a little curious as to what was happening inside. Once she saw her boyfriend stepping out of the home, her eyes reflected a soft smile. He looked as composed as ever, like walking on a red carpet. So dreamy and handsome, Junko stopped before Vine getting in between her legs. His eyes falling on her neck, and when he was assured she was treated well, he rested his hands on her thighs. Jungkook, are you feeling better? Vine, I'm feeling safe, like home, every time you're around. Jungkook, then let me make sure I'm around you all the time from now on. He held her hand, intertwining his fingers with her as he pulled her close to him. Jungkook, move in with me. He kissed her cheek and jaw down to her neck. No one knew how much she mattered to him. A slight scratch on her could send him to the edge of his sanity. She wrapped her arms around his neck and closed her eyes in relief. A little nod of head was all Jungkook needed as confirmation. Wine, were not you out of the city? How come you reached here so quickly? Jungkook, all it took was a chopper. I'm glad you remembered the necklace. Never take it off. Wine, Jungkook, I know you have a lot of work. I don't mean to burden you, but can you hire someone trustworthy to keep an eye on the company and the current CEO till I'm prepared to take over? Jungkook, I'll do that, Mayan, but you should start visiting the company, learn the things around, and take the seat that belongs to you. She smiled. She knew he was the only one she could trust with a blind eye. Jungkook picked her up, getting in the car, and she kissed his cheek. Man, did you get more handsome within a night, or I'm falling in love all over again? She grinned at her own cheesy line and laughed when she received a snort out of him. Jungkook, you're going to be the death of me. The two returned to Jungkook's home and he made sure he kept her in front of his eyes from there on, taught her some self-defense moves, and Vine started preparing for her future now that the biggest hurdle was out of her way.